All right. So it's been an interesting week with all of you who are my students. One is none of your fault. One of them is because my health and issues and such. But we put out the call asking for each single class that I'm teaching this semester what would be a good time to have a Zoom call to get everybody on the same page. And I should have seen it coming, but you guys are so busy, and there are so many various sports, and we're going into the weekend. And for those of you who are following the calendar, it's Labor Day is right around the corner. So, anyways, here's what we've done. I am tonight, which is Friday night, at 8 p.m., going to have a general information session for anyone who wants to be a part of it. However, because you guys are very busy, I will use my YouTube page. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, but I will use my YouTube page and upload some informational points as well. So if you're watching this because you either have me for Christian Disciplines, which is a 400 level class, and you're doing it online, or you got me for Worldviews and you're catching up, or there's a chance you're taking me for hermeneutics. So because of that, I'm going to take the next few minutes and just assuage some fears. I'm going to start guessing that y'all got some professors who are hardcore because, wow, some of y'all are writing and saying, oh, I'm sorry I didn't make this or I didn't make this. Don't look, relax. As you know by now, or as I'm pretty sure you know by now, my methodology, my pedagogy, if you will, is content-based. Which means I'm not obsessed with having a paper in at a certain time or using Kate Turabian 6 or etc. I am more concerned with putting resources in your hand so that 10 years from now, if you get the notes, that you'll go, oh yeah, I remember that. So with that in mind, let me speak to all of you. Okay? I will do more of this tonight, especially when it helps when more specific questions, but here's the basic outline and outview. Worldview class is the introduction, if you will, to how to think. And it's, if you could, you'd call it logic and reason, or perhaps even, approaches in life, because everybody's got a worldview. The books that are required for that are PDFs, and they're PDFs that I provide for you. One of them is less than 50 pages, written by Dr. Norman Geisler, and he covers the major worldviews. Now, at the time of his death, he and I were working on a couple of other chapters in that topic, but it's pretty thorough. And I will have a video for you over the weekend that will sort of walk you through an overview of the worldview. The second book that you will be required to read is a book by Ravi Zacharias. Dr. Zacharias, incredible mind. And he talks about Jesus against the secular gods. Now you combine these two books, and one of the requirements for your class, for those of you who are worldviews, but you combine those books together, it's about 300 pages of reading. It's not necessarily really hardcore reading, which is why I like it. And it's why in the class of worldviews, which is a 100 level class, I think it's a fair approach. I really do think it's a fair approach. The outline, if you will, the outline of the class covers these worldviews, but does so like the Apostle Paul walking through the book of Acts. I mean, the questions really never change. Settings change, Capitals change, kings change, but the questions never change. We use the Socratic method, which is we ask the questions that the heathens ask. And we do so, especially with worldviews, in those major issues. Every single religion, every single political affiliation, every single worldview has to answer four things. Has to tell you where you came from or your origin story, why you're here, how do you live. Even in those systems that don't define sin, they do define guilt. And finally, where am I going? And you have to deal with those four major issues, even if you are a nihilist who worships grasshoppers. You're going to have to find some way of dealing with that. So that's the approach. And every week, as we do Block A, every week, I will be uploading 2 or 3 videos. I take every class the same way. I've been doing this for a quarter of a century. Every class is basically 30 lectures. So if we're doing the normal 8 weeks, well, does that mean about 4 a week? Yeah, but they're not 4 one-hour lectures. They're divided up in bite-sized components. And my job is in those 40 lectures to sort of walk you through so that you can make a distinction between fascism and communism, existentialism, humanism, which is really what atheism is now, dealing with deism, and then what we have is Christianity. A personal, intimate, loving God who knows horrors about you, still loves you. You hold that up and against the other worldviews. What your neighbor believes and your coworker and the guy who's on the line with you. And you find a way to share the gospel with them. Is Jesus exclusive? Is he a snob? Does true love hate? There's 1,000 different ways to ask that question. Now, in worldviews, one of the requirements, even if you're online, is what we call the Mars Hill Project. Same every class has to deal with. But it is following the steps of the Apostle Paul. At some point in the next 7 weeks, we will come to some conclusion as to where we're going to go. You will study a little bit the worldview of somebody else. Temple, synagogue, masjid, holy site, whatever. And you'll start learning what kind of questions to ask them. Because then you and I will meet at some point at the school and go to either a meeting that they have or a festival they celebrate. In the fall, you got Diwali, but you also have witchcraft, the Wicca. You've got Santeria, you've got, etc. You will then experience this under the rules of Mars Hill, and then you're going to write 2-page paper. 1 page front and back. Handwritten. That's due on the last day of class. In this case, if you're doing the class in Block A, it's October the 13th. That's it. I give you a final, but it's a little bit different. It's open note. Because again, content. I'm more interested in you recognizing truth than memorizing little mnemonic devices, yeah? Final point. To prove that you've watched this video, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to email me back. Now, my email is ECANER, just 1 N, @abu.edu. And when you email me back, here's what it's got to contain. 1, a selfie of you, so I can put a face to a name. 2, your cell phone number. 3, your email. You will have all mine as well. But that will show me that you've watched this pretty brief, less than 10-minute meeting. But it does. It'll Make sure that we all get on the same page. This video can fill the spot for you. You don't have to come to the Zoom class tonight. But I will be offering 3 or 4 more Zooms this semester and this block. Simply, it's not required. What is required is interacting with my videos, but it's not required. It's just me offering you more opportunities to follow through. The next thing you'll be getting is the reading list, meaning as you read through, here's some things you should be looking for, or skip this chapter because it's not necessary. And then the final, which will be pretty self-explanatory. And again, it'll be open note. And it will be taken the last week. So between October 13th and October 16th. I hope this explains the methodology. And for those of you who are listening to me because of Christian disciplines, I'm going to throw out another video for you just so that you understand the difference, because we're talking about 2 sides of the same coin. We're also talking about 2 various different approaches. One final point. Make sure you email me so that I will give you the credit for watching this video. And secondly, those who've had me in the last, say, 3-4 years, you have learned that I sometimes have health issues. Everybody has some. And I am going to labor to make sure I have enough videos up that you know what's next, or you understand where I'm going. And it will equal about 30 videos for every class. Well, wait, do you do that for every class? I do that for every class. And I do it because I like coming back to my notes fresh. eCanner, abu.edu. You're going to be reading through the book of Acts, following the steps of the Apostle Paul as he encountered all the world religions, all the worldviews. Make sure you send me a selfie so I have your picture embedded in that email. And I need your email and your cell phone number. My cell phone is 817-229-9263. Welcome to the journey. It's going to be fun.